So let's give this one a shot. So as always, the first thing we're going to do, my party people, is read that question sentence. So here it says, what is the swimmer's average speed? Okay, what is the swimmer's average speed? So in a class where we're discussing distance, rate, and time, my party people, what does speed relate to the most? The distance, the rate, or the time? Yeah, that's going to be rate. That is going to be rate. So for all intents and purposes here, when we're discussing speed or average speed, we're really talking about rate. So let's go ahead and write that down. Distance equals rate times time. And we are looking for that rate. Now, let's point out what information we have so then we can make a decision on what we're going to do. So pay close attention here, because I know for a fact that being apprehensive about decimals is going to give you some pause. But let's pretend that these are whole numbers. So my party people, the 1.2 miles and the 0.4 hours, we can relate them each to the distance and time respectively. 1.2 miles is distance, 0.4 hours, that is time. So let's write both of those down right over here. 1.2 miles equals the rate multiplied by 0.4. Now, let me ask you this. Let's pretend that these were whole numbers. Let's pretend this was not 1.2 and not 0.4. Just replace them with whatever you want. Everybody, what is the right move to make? What operation are we going to commit to getting the rate by itself? Don't worry about the numbers. Just worry about the action. Yeah, it's going to be division. It's absolutely going to be division. Because if you're looking at the rate, well, that 0.4 is currently in the way. That's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. So to get rid of that multiplier of 0.4, we are going to divide it on both sides. Now, this is the point at which some folks might become a little recluse. We might be looking at this saying, hey, buddy, I don't like dividing by decimals. Heck, I don't even know how to divide by decimals. Well, I'm going to beg to differ because I'm pretty sure you know how. Let me go ahead and show you. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to handle this in a very simple way. My party people, who here has ever heard of the phrase or the saying, when it comes to fractions, whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top, or whatever you do to the numerator, you do to the denominator? Who's heard that before? Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and take advantage of that, and let me show you how that's actually going to work. So everybody, answer this first question for me. What is 120? This is a side question. This is just a little detour. But what is 120 divided by 40? What is that going to be? Okay, that's going to be 3. Because when you think about it, 40 multiplied by 3 is 120. Not 30. 40 times 30, that's 1,200. That'd be way too much. 40 times 3, yeah, that's 120. Can we agree on that before we move forward there? Yeah, 40 times 3, 120, perfect. So let's go ahead and write 3. Sweet. Now, let me show you what happens, everybody. Let me show you what happens when we say, hey, let's do the same thing to the numerator and denominator. For sure, I'll agree with you if you said, Coach, we could just cancel these zeros out. What are you doing, you madman? I got you. Let me cook. Let me go ahead and show you what's going on. Let me show you what happens if we say, hey, let me grab these decimals and let me move both of these decimals, this one up top and this one on the bottom. Let me move both of them to the left one time. Let me see if that changes my answer. Let me see. Everybody, you tell me if I go ahead and go one decimal place over, one decimal place over, what does the 120 now become? What number is that now if we move the decimal over here? It's not 120 anymore. That's 12. That's 12. So that becomes 12. And then everybody, if I move the decimal on the 40, what does it turn into now? What does that 40 turn into? It's not 40 anymore. It is, yeah, it's just 4. So let me write that down as well. Okay, everybody, what's 12 divided by 4? What is 12 divided by 4? Y'all tell me. Oh, look at that. It is still 3. Oh, look at that. Look at that. If I move the decimals in the same direction, the same number of times, the answer doesn't change. Now you might be asking me, Coach, why is that useful? Why is that useful? Well, let's take a look over here at the math we're trying to do. We're trying to do 1.2 divided by 0.4. Let me show you this, everybody. Let me do the same thing that we just did. 1.2 over 0.4. Everybody watch this. If I went ahead and took that decimal place and moved it to the right one time on the bottom and the top. Again, whatever I do to the bottom, I'm going to do to the top. So if I were to go ahead and do that, everybody, help me out. 1.2 turns into what? What does 1.2 turn into now? Yeah, 1.2 turns into 12. And then what does 0.4 turn into? What does 0.4 turn into when I move that decimal place over? Oh, that turns into a 4. Everybody, quick question. Just a quick question. Do you prefer to divide by whole numbers instead of decimals? Do you personally prefer to divide and deal with whole numbers instead of decimals? Yeah, I agree with you too. If I don't have to divide by a decimal, why would I torture myself? Right? It's not that day of the week yet. So with that said, 12 divided by 4 is a much cleaner way than trying to divide by a decimal. That's what this is about. Because now we have 12 divided by 4. Everybody, what is 12 divided by 4? That's going to be 3. Booyah. There we go. So right over here, we can get the final solution to this problem. 1.2 divided by 0.4, that is 3. Our correct answer here is B, 3 miles per hour. And again, this was a very straightforward problem with a little bit of nuance because we had to divide by a decimal. But if we know how to deal with this, we can go from test anxiety to confidence. And it starts with knowing these little things and applying these little things bit by bit. All right, next question. So at first, we always want to read that question sentence. So we see that it says, what is the area of the garden? And that key word, I think we can all agree, is right there. It's area. But we have to be careful with the information because area, yeah, we have a formula for that, but it really depends on the shape. So here it says a square garden. So immediately, as you read through the context, the story, we see that we're looking for the area of this square. So immediately we want to regurgitate, repeat ourselves, and say, hey, what's that area of a square? That is area equals side times side. Or side squared. It means the same thing. Remember, squaring just means that we'll multiply that value by itself. So with that, notice that all we need here is the side. If the problem gives us the side, then we're good to go. And that's exactly what happens. Sides measuring 7 meters. So there we go. All good. We can immediately begin by plugging in 7 for that side. And then that'll be squared. So remember, everybody, squared does not mean multiply by 2. Squared means multiply by itself. In the same way that if I had cubed to the power of 3, it's multiplied by itself 3 times. So here, because it's square root of 2, you'll have 2 7s multiplied together. And 7 times 7 is 49. And of course, because we are dealing in meters, it would be 7 meters times 7 meters, which makes it 49 square meters. But nonetheless, there's our answer. The correct answer here is answer choice B because we're using the area of a square.